So, the big question is this: how are entrepreneurs and real estate investors like us, ones who want to grow our businesses and who are tired of paying for really expensive alternative lending? How do we tap into the most inexpensive money available and do it without the hassle of typical borrowing? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. I'm Merrill Chandler, and welcome to the Are You Effable podcast. Welcome back. In this episode of Are You Effable, we're going to be talking about one of the greatest, it's not just an insider secret, right? This is one of the most deceptive practices that business credit providers actually foist upon us unsuspecting borrowers. We're going to talk about it when I get back. Welcome back, you guys. All right. Today, we're talking about literally one of the things that just somewhere between breaks my heart and makes my blood boil, because these are scams, business credit scams, where lenders, believing we don't know the rules of this game, these lenders actually provide what we think are business credit cards, and they're not. They end up reporting on our personal profile, ruining our fundability, ruining the goose that lays the golden egg, and they just go on their merry way thinking they've done us a solid. So we're going to talk about exactly what business credit is and what business credit is not. All right. Now remember, when we do this wrong, we will actually tell lenders to reject us on future applications. All right, so let's take a look at this. First, let's get some definitions down. There are several types of business credit above and beyond what we've talked about on the personal side. Just like on the personal, there's credit cards, credit lines, and charge cards. Those are the same things that we've talked about over in the on the personal side. And in addition, there are installment loans. So commercial loans, real estate loans, all that can also be on the business side, right? But there are two additional types of credit we need to be aware of, because in the next episode, in subsequent episodes, we're going to be talking about how fake business credit providers, we call it business credit builders, they come and they say, hey, I'll help you build your business credit, and then they deceive us. Remember, we talked earlier about Paydex. The Paydex score is dead. Well, we're going to be doing a deeper dive into what that means and how people are having us try and build those credit scores. So, business credit scores that no business lender, no business credit lender, true cash cards, credit cards, and business credit lines uses any of those business credit card building processes. So to get to that, we need to understand that there are two other types of business credit. One's called service credit, and one is vendor credit. Now, service credit is just like on the personal side. You can have your internet service, you can have water delivery, you can have phone service, web hosting. All of those things are service credit. We call them service providers on the personal side, but this service credit are specific to business expenses, et cetera. All of them can be written off, et cetera, associated with your business. Then there's vendor credit. Vendor credit is like business to business, goods and services. They usually have a net 30. They don't have charge cards. They don't have credit cards, but real estate investors may have a carpet service where they'll say, hey, I'll charge you in 30 days. They may have roofing. You could have the due date set out 15 days or 30 days. This could be for paper deliveries if you're photocopier outlet, and they are charging you these charges, but they're on account for 30 days or so, right? It's called net 15, net 30, net 5, etc. Now, those are the types of accounts that are used with these fake business credit builders. Again, we'll get to that in a second, but I just need you to be aware this is where we're going. Now, let's talk about the 3 popular business credit instruments and how best to use them. Especially, we're going to talk about, so if doesn't matter what type of entrepreneur you are, what type of business owner you are, these are how the business credit instruments are designed according to the lenders. When we've vetted literally hundreds and hundreds of banks to help our clients, our students, build relationships with the right kind of business bankers. And invariably, in these definitions, the lenders use these parameters that we're going to go over right now. They use these parameters to see whether or not you're using their instrument correctly or well, and whether or not they're going to give you more money as the result of using it properly. So let's go over a business credit card. The best use is when you're floating yourself a 30-day loan and you carry the purchases at 0%, meaning that if you pay it on the due date, you just gave yourself a 30-day loan. And sometimes it's even longer than 30 days because let's say your billing period is from 1 through 30 of the month and it's not due until the 15th. Well, and you bought something on the 1st or 2nd and not due till the 2nd month on the 15th, that's 45 days of a free float, free interest. Now, there are business credit cards out there that for 9 months, 12 months, 18 months will let you have 0% if you carry it, right? Meaning you go from month to month over 2 or 3 months, you can carry those balances at 0%. Problem is you are using FICO is still in the process of validating data, and there's not wide adoption yet of the small business scoring service. But just like FICO is in charge of all credit scoring, 90% of all business credit scoring decisions on the personal side are done by FICO. I guarantee you that FICO is going to take over this business credit business credit scoring as well. They're just not there yet. So it's okay to carry balances, but remember, if you carry a high balance, the lender knows. Other lenders won't know because FICO's not scoring it and it's not out in the world. It's not on a credit report, a business credit report of it worth anything. But the current lender knows that you're carrying a balance above 38%, 60%, whatever it is, and they will add to your credit line or take away from your credit line based on how you comport yourself, right? How you treat their money. So be aware, the best use of a credit card is that 30 to 45 day float, pay it down to 0, don't carry balances above 7% until FICO starts reporting. Don't ruin the relationship that you have with this business lender. Let's look at credit lines now. The best use of a credit line, now this is literally out of the mouth of credit line issuers. Okay, the lenders who issue these credit lines, they're saying that when you need to carry short-term balances for 1 to 3 months, if it's an older credit line, meaning 6 to 12 months, they don't mind if it goes above or goes from 3 to 6 months carrying a balance. Right? Now, we prefer to keep these under 38%, so we tell the lender not to be worried, but there are ways around that. We're going to be learning later that in the business credit line building phase that there are strategies that you can do that will augment your use of these lines. We'll be talking about that in a minute or in a future episode. But the example of if you're taking down a property, earnest money, you need you're covering payroll, you need to buy new computers for your consulting firm, whatever it is, credit lines, they love credit lines. Credit lines are built to carry balances from 1 to 3 months and up to 6 months if it's aged. If it's over 6 months to a 12 months old, then you can take it to 6 months. And there are strategies, again, of how to notify your credit line issuer, notify your lender that what you're doing and how to get them to be on your side about it, right? Not send you to the risk department. So credit lines, 1 to 3 months. And if it's an older instrument, then 6 months is okay. But it's not designed to go for 12 months or 24 months. That's not what credit lines are for. All right. So according to the lender, let's look at the final category is that we have the business loan. Now, the best use for a business loan is for long-term balances. If you can use the entire loan amount all at once, that's when you choose a business loan over a credit line. In fact, one of my clients, I had a gentleman who wasn't interested in the $1 million funding formula for credit lines because he could use every single penny. So every one of his, instead of doing lines, he did business loans to the tune of $100,000 each. He pulled that money and was able to invest it in his projects, in the building of his business, and in a couple of investments that he had his eye on, and he used the entire business loan for those purposes. Now, you have to remember, you've got to have the right funding entity so that the lenders are funding you as the genius behind the business. Again, that's in a future episode we'll be covering. So best use for business loans is if long-term balances need to be carried, then get a loan, don't get a credit line. If you can use that money all at once, then that's what you want to use the business loan for. All right? Now, again, out of the mouth of business lenders is this information coming from us, okay? All right, so let's take a look at the definition of business credit. Now, the traditional business credit is a credit instrument that is issued in the name of the business, with the business being primarily responsible for repayment. Now, that makes sense, but that definition does not take into account credit reporting, where it's showing up on the credit profile and how it's affecting your fundability. It's simply saying business credit is primarily responsible. A business credit is when the credit instrument is primarily responsible to be paid by the business. Now, our definition is any credit account that does not report to your personal profile, but your EIN or your business was used as part of the application process. So if you put the name of your business and or the EIN of that business, and it does not report to your personal credit profile, that is business credit. So let's go over an example here of what business credit is not. So I call it a business credit scam alert. And in the next 2 or 3 episodes, we're actually going to be going up against people who are trying to build business credit using instruments just like this. All right, so continuing. Business credit is not something that reports to your personal profile. An example of that is Spark Business. Any business, and I'm using, if you can see me, if you can't see me, hear the whoosh of my air quote fingers saying that business credit, Spark, and Capital One are not true business credit instruments. There is nothing that Capital One puts into the market that is actually a true business credit card. Nothing. Capital One, single thing on Capital One reports to your personal profile. That makes it a personal credit, even if it says Spark Business on the card or the statements. Now, the question is why is that? What, Merrill? If it says it's a business credit card, then it's a business credit card. And I'm going to tell you, no, it's not. And here's why. Every time you use this card for business, it raises the utilization on your personal profile because it reports to your personal credit report. And every time you raise your utilization, those balances go up, your fundability and your score go down. That is not business credit. That is personal credit. So the goose that lays the golden egg is your personal profile. We want true credit instruments that don't report to that don't report to the personal. So when you raise your balances on that credit card, it doesn't affect your personal profile. You with me? And when your personal profile is protected, then we're taking care of the goose that lays the golden egg, right? We are taking care of your funding asset, which is your personal profile. Now, there is no credit no business credit from Discover that is actual business credit. All Discover business credit instruments report to your personal profile, guys. So when you use that card for business even, it ruins the utilization and the balances on your personal profile, and you're hit again. That is not personal credit. Now, there are some credit cards by American Express that do not report, and some credit cards do. So some Chase cards report to your personal, some do not. So you've got to vet, and we'll be discussing how to vet in a different episode. We're going to be talking about how to ask a customer service representative from any one of these banks how to find out whether or not it reports to personal. In the next few episodes, we're talking exclusively about building business, how to be fundable in your business as well. So the first thing we've got to do is stop getting credit instruments that we think are for business and they end up on the personal side. So let's take a look at business credit card stacking. Now, there are outfits. If you, 3 or 4 episodes ago, I did a scathing review of Seed Capital, who is a credit card stacker. And when I have business quotes, and when I put quotes around business credit card stacking, that means people who say, I'm going to get you $250,000 for your business. Go back and watch that episode. It's a scathing reminder. In fact, I had somebody put on my Facebook, because that was a Facebook Live that we used here for a podcast. And I had a credit card stacker who's not Seed Capital, direct message me and said, hey, can we talk? And we spent an hour on the phone, and he did his best to defend the tactics for individuals to do this kind of credit card stacking. I told him, we'll cover in a moment, I told him about the 524 rule. I told him about if somebody needs so much money so fast that they're going to ruin their personal credit profile, they may want to ask, is it really worth it? Are they in that case, if we go back a couple of episodes, are they a credit or a funding rat? Remember, the rat is any credit at any cost. That is behavior that is going to be measured by the lenders. Now, some business credit card stacking outfits will use a sole proprietor entity to get business credit cards that then report to your personal, because the sole proprietor is just an alter ego. If you're a sole proprietor and you get sued, your business entity gets sued, they're suing you individually. There's no protection. There's no corporate veil like with an LLC or an INC stock corporation. There's no protections. So when they get a sole proprietor and they just get an EIN, but it's a sole proprietorship and they're getting business credit, I can guarantee you those credit cards are going to report to your personal and ruin your profile. So let's review, because we talked about it once. But the 524 rule, this is so important. And this guy, this gentleman who reported back and tried to tell me the benefits of credit card stacking, he said, yeah, but only Chase uses the 524 rule. And actually, the 524 rule is coming out there. FICO Falcon is monitoring all of these. There's several data synchronizing databases that are looking for these types of inquiries to implement. There's numerous banks that have joined, and more, I guarantee, over the next 12 to 24 months, more and more banks are going to deny any credit card application if there's been more than 5 approvals in the preceding 24 months. They're just going to cut it off. If there's been more than 5 in the 24 preceding months, they're going to drop it like it's hot. All right. So some of the we are going to be doing Facebook Lives on a number of these on our liars, cheaters, and thieves, just like we did Seed Capital. We're going to be going over the Fund and Grow. We're going to be doing Sprout Financial. We're going to be doing the Midwest Corporate Credit. Anybody who says business credit at 0% interest is lying through their teeth. All right. So we're going to be, we'll cover that in greater detail in subsequent episodes. But I'm telling you guys, I'm tired of people taking advantage of borrowers who are not part of the fundable, the effable revolution, right? You are now, if you're at this episode, you have enough knowledge to protect yourself, but your family members, your loved ones, the people at your work or in your at your school do not have this knowledge. Get them to listen to the podcast. Get them to at least stop stepping on the funding landmines that are killing them. Now, I kind of want to end on this because, and again, we're going to be doing a liars, cheaters, and thieves on the business credit building scams, because this scam is calling a wolf in sheep's clothing, right? Business credit acting like business credit, but actually being personal credit and reporting to your profile. So, in their own words, I have a picture here. If you can see this, make sure you go to the blog so you can see the pictures. But there's a lovely woman. Her name is Jerry Dietweiler, and she is the business credit trainer for NAV. And remember, we're going to be doing a NAV, Liars, Cheaters, and Thieves. NAV is the business credit equivalent to Credit Karma. They don't use legitimate scores. They don't use, in fact, they use all the FACO scores. They don't use FICO scores. They just sell they sell credit cards, many of which are not business credit cards, but end up reporting on your personal profile. We were invited to a forum. They were having a class on business credit, and they know exactly who we are. In fact, it felt like Jerry was talking to me and Jessica while we were sitting in that class to verify the truth of some of her assertions. But one of the things she said, and I pulled it right out of the class, somebody asked her, what is the negative effect of business credit, getting business credit? And she said, watch your balances, but there is no negative effect if a business credit card reports to your personal credit. Watch your balances. So she's even affirming that she knows that those utilizations are going to get reported to your personal. Guys, your personal profile, I call it the goose that lays the golden egg, but it's like a porcelain doll. It's a beautiful thing that you put on the shelf and let lenders be in awe of it. It's not a Raggedy Ann you take and play in the mud. So she's literally saying there's no negative effect if a business credit card reports to your personal credit. It contributes to your total credit lines. You can have too much available credit. You can have too high of balances. Your utilization can suck. It is like having another credit card. And we only want the perfect profile is only 3 to 5 credit cards in the first place. So if you're going to try and build business credit, you're going to have way more than 3 to 5 cards. You with me here? The next was from an Amex representative, because we go in and we report, we want to continually be updated on the types of accounts that are reporting to personal and reporting to business only. Well, an Amex representative said, yes, it reports on your personal credit report, but it isn't as bad as an auto loan or mortgage. It's worse. An auto loan and a mortgage are loans, and installment loans we talked about have far less negative impact by having them, and they're secured loans, which has less negative impact. personal credit card is unsecured. It's the worst possible message. If you have a high balance there, you're being completely irresponsible. So he's comparing loans to unsecured credit. That is the exact opposite of what he should have said. But yes, he said that particular American Express reports to your personal credit report, but it's not bad. Do you see? And I'm not. Jerry should know better. She wrote a book on business credit. She should know better. I can't speak to it. As a person, she's a sweetheart. Just a lovely, lovely soul. As a business credit professional, she is not. She is the business credit trainer for NAV, and she is not doing their clients a solid. But NAV, again, is in the business of just selling credit cards. They don't care if it actually reports or ruins the borrower's personal credit profile. Then the next one was seed capital. Now, again, go back 2 or 3 episodes, whatever it was, to the seed capital scathing. But he actually said, we get you true business credit lines you can write checks with, usually within 30 to 45 days. The checks he's talking about are convenience checks, and most of those convenience checks are like taking a cash advance. And at Chase, those cash advance checks are 26% interest per day. So, and he even had the audacity to say we get you true business credit lines. They don't. They're personal credit cards you can use for business, but you got to tap them up, tap them out, and then they abuse. They ruin your utilization. They ruin your 24-month look-back period. They ruin everything about your personal profile. Guys, we're gonna stop here for this episode, because in the next few episodes we're gonna be doing a deep dive into business credit building scams, what they're selling you, the joke that they are, and then the deceptive practices they're using to tell you that it's okay, that because you don't know the rules of the game, they're just going to dunk on you and abuse and teach you how to ruin your personal credit in the process. So until next time, this is Merrill Chandler, making sure that you are as effable as you can possibly be. Be true to the faith, guys. Let's keep binging, and let's keep making a difference in our own and loving and coaching the lives of our loved ones. To see the blog the written version of this, go to fundinghackers.com and click the link and the blog link. It'll take you right there. More importantly, click on the Funding Hacker, the boot camp, and learn what you can about. Take a weekend and let's do this together. I'd love to meet you in person or in live streaming mode. So have a spectacular morning, noon, or night. And for those of you who are working out, I'm going to get back while you're listening to this. I'm getting back into my own physical routine here shortly. So I acknowledge you guys for taking care of yourselves while you're educating your souls and your businesses about how to become effable. Peace. Hey guys, thank you for listening to Are You Effable? Please leave comments, because I would love to read about your aha moments from this episode. And be sure to visit fundinghackers.com to view the blog post, get important links, join our community, and much, much more. And you gotta tell your friends about this podcast. We want them to become effable too.